This video is one where I'm just here to pose a question to you guys. How can we fix the outlook of the NBA? How does it happen? I look at certain guys that are trying to be the face of the league. They get shunned out. I look at other guys that get the praise to be the face of the league, and they're not nearly the player as one might would lead you to believe. And I look at the media. The media doesn't do a great job of telling the story of the NBA with the young guys included. It only seems like they want to divide and show you who's the greatest and who's a phony. I don't see a real concerted effort by the NBA as a whole, as a community, in making the current product the main story. And that's something that it's sad to watch because this has been one of the years where I've been in depth looking at, NBA basketball. I say in depth, quote unquote. Like, I've gone to a few games. I pay more attention on TV. I've sat and watched some more. But there's a lot of good basketball being played. I don't know what people want to see. I don't know if what people are wanting to see is realistic, because is what you want to see tied to reality, or is it tied to nostalgia? And I think nostalgia has been the biggest claw in the side of the NBA. They cannot get over what they used to be. Like that one scene from The Wire, like, hey, look, the thing about the old days, those were the old days. It's over now. Let it go. I'm talking about things that don't even matter. A la the All-Star game. The All-Star game has been such a point of contention for the NBA. Now, for the NFL and their All-Star game, I don't know if we really care about it that much as a community. The NBA seems to really hold near and dear the All-Star week, the skill challenges, the dunk contest, the All-Star game in and of itself. I was always under the impression that the only thing that truly mattered was the dunk contest. That was the big, wow moment. And even became, at a certain point, the NBA three-point contest is based on what Steph had done to the game. There is no real way to fix the NBA All-Star game. The only real fix for it is to tie some type of monetary incentive behind playing and winning said game. Like I want to say Jeff Teague on the 520 podcast, they suggested, hey, winner gets $1 million, loser gets $100K. If nothing else motivates these guys to go out and play, it's got to be the money. You're the league with guaranteed contracts. You're the league that has that as far as money growth in terms of what kinds of contracts guys can sign. You've seen some of the most insurmountable growth outside of Major League Baseball. So make money the main motive. Is that not what you do for the NBA Commissioner's Cup? So if the NBA's Commissioner Cup, which has real ties to real games, has a monetary incentive, I would say the best way to make the All-Star game competitive is to slap a monetary incentive on that as well. That's it. That's all these guys are playing for. They're playing for bread. They're playing for monetary gain. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Me and some of the guys talked about it the other day. Who really cares about an All-Star game once we get to the professional level? The last place where an All-Star game truly has meaning and you take pride in playing in it is when you're an amateur. So when you play a McDonald's All-American game, you take pride in that. You want to be the best guy of the best because none of you have made a dollar yet off of this game that y'all love. And that's an opportunity to go out and show the world that, hey, I'm the best at this amongst everybody else. Not the NBA All-Star game. You can still take that same pride, and I think guys would commend you for it. But it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go out and risk injury and risk all of these things for what? Like the fact that we had real conversations about a guy in year 22 deciding to sit out of the All-Star game, mind you, because he wanted to make sure he was healthy for his team in the back half of the season. We talked more about the guy in year 22 than the guy that is under 25 years old that also decided to sit out. And that's and again, you're starting to see more and more of the problem is that I don't know. I just feel like we haven't put the responsibility on some of these younger guys to take charge. Like the fact that we're still talking about LeBron as if he's supposed to be the one leading this this sport still, and at age 40, year 22 is the problem. When there are guys like Anthony Edwards who, sure, for lack of a better word, they're ducking the responsibility of being the face of the league. They're ducking the responsibility, and people still want to give it to them. But then there's a guy like Jayson Tatum. And Jayson Tatum, I don't know what, somebody would have to really tell me why is it that a guy with his resume and what all that he's accomplished from his rookie year till now is having such a hard time being accepted as one of the best players in the league. Like, I think we all know it, but it's the lack of acknowledgement. And I think a lot of guys, I saw a tweet yesterday that, a lot of guys they don't like the perception of their careers right now. Like, I don't think Jayson Tatum does not like the perception of his career. And I can tell you right now, this past summer didn't help with that either. Going to the NBA, going to the Olympics, with that team and not playing, not truly contributing. That has to stick. It has to stick to you. Like, I look at even Jaylen Brown not even being invited, and Derek White being invited, a role player from your team, a team that you won the Finals MVP for, and again, I think, and we wonder why the product, and we wonder why the people cannot get behind it. I think the decision makers in basketball are making it hard for people to get behind these younger guys. You don't work to put these guys in the forefront, and you got guys that you have put in the forefront that don't want it. They don't want that. They don't want the responsibility. And I mind you, for Anthony Edwards, can I understand why he doesn't necessarily want to be the face of the league? Yeah, because the face of the league needs to be clean cut. He needs to make zero mistakes outside of the basketball court. And if we know Anthony Edwards, and I'm not going to get into what we all know, but that ain't face of the league type of behavior. Straight up, you have to be presidential. You know how you have to operate in order to be the face of the league these days. For people, to not ridicule you, and people, a lot of these guys may deem it unnecessary ridicule from those who already don't respect their game. Like, you talk about a guy like LeBron. I mean, like, you talk about a guy like LeBron who's accomplished all the way he's accomplished throughout his 22-year career, and people just cannot let go of the idea that he could possibly be better than Michael Jordan. With all that he's accomplished, the conversation always centers around how he's not better than Michael Jordan. And I got to ask you, at that point, who would want to be the face of the league? And it started there. At least for me. That's where I can pinpoint the problem with the NBA media and how they approach their players. Because nobody's been able, you've not allowed a single person to be on the same stage as Michael Jordan. You've not tried to push this game forward in terms of the players that are coming through that are playing great. All that, I mean, you talk about inside the NBA. This is your biggest show. This is the biggest show that represents the NBA. And that product, all it does is talk down on the current landscape of the league. That's your best show. That's your biggest show. And I won't say best. That's your biggest show. That's the one where guys like me who don't watch the NBA night in, night out, when they get a chance, that's who we're seeing. That's who's speaking up for your league. That's the representation. So when you have that being the representation of your league, these narratives start to spin and they snowball into this thing we have now where nobody can seemingly take the throne. And I look at guys like Stephen A. Smith. I look at guys like Skip Bayless. And I'll tell you right now, those two, while immensely talented, and two guys that I think anybody that does what I'm doing right now has to say you looked at and you modeled something about your style about them, or you've done the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Either you love them or you hate them. Something that they've done has affected how you hop on this camera and you speak. Those two guys ruin sports dialogue forever. Forever. Hot take culture is a direct baby of what Skip and Stephen A created. Now, has it always existed? Have shock jocks always existed in sports radio? Like, have those guys always, been a part of it? Yeah. But on a national scale, and the way that it's done, they've affected how sports talk goes in every single capacity. Barbershop talk was always barbershop talk, but we always left it there. And then you knew there's a higher level of sports talk outside of barbershop talk. But that's what guys like Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon have created with PTI. There's a higher level of thinking about it. But then when you have, for lack of a better word, when you have some uncles on TV yelling and saying, "Oh, LeBron couldn't tie Michael Jordan's laces. He couldn't. The lace cap on the end of the laces. He ain't even that. He can't even tie those up." That when you have that level of talk, it keeps detracting, and it's me, and it's a caricature of what it makes a caricature out of the sport in my mind. It makes how we talk about this sport so unserious, less serious than what it should be. When we're talking about the greatest athletes of all time, not even just in their sport, of all time, and we're diminishing guys as if they've accomplished nothing, and as if what they've done for a longevity standpoint means absolutely nothing. But again, I would say blame your forefathers in how we talk about sports today. Even how we do this podcast. I'm telling you, they've done irreparable damage. And for anyone that is on the opposite side of the fence as me about this, think about how you talk about sports on a daily basis. Just think about it. Does it have perspective to it? Or is it just, this is my guy, I'm going to defend this guy to the end of time, no matter what, no matter whether I am pushing false narratives, no matter whether I'm pushing agendas. Like, agendas this is what sports fans are saying now. Everybody's pushing an agenda. That stems from some of your favorites. Pushing agendas and debating with agendas in mind is such a disingenuous way to talk about sports. And it's a way that I don't like to talk about it. I don't want to debate. I want to have a discussion. I want to be able to take certain points from you and take certain points from you and get to a central focus where I'm like, okay, that changed my perspective. All right, I can look at this a little bit differently and I feel like a more well-rounded view of what we're talking about. That's to me what's most important, what should be most important when we talk about sports on a daily basis. But that was my mini rant for today. Mini by mini, 14 minutes. This is Joe Jobber Sports. I'm Shanti Stewart. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'm out.